Welcome to Geopolitics, another market outlook video. I'm Sanket Bendre from the Fundamental Research team, and in today's video, we will be discussing some of the key factors that happened in the last week, as well as the global markets and the domestic markets today. So let me share my screen, and we will start the video right ahead. Okay, now I hope my screen is visible. Yeah, okay. So as I mentioned, we will be discussing some key updates that happened in the last week. So the first will be petrol and diesel prices hike. This was the most recent one, that is on Friday, 15th of May 2026. So on Friday, we saw petrol and diesel prices go high as steel and oil marketing companies ended a record 4-year pause in the fuel prices revision. So if we know that during the Russia and Ukraine war as well, oil prices were increasing, and we had to, Indian government had to do a fuel price hike. And post that, after a 4 year stretch, we are seeing this another price hike in the fuel prices. Between that, we saw that there was no lowering of prices of fuels despite the Ukraine war was on our ending stage. So despite that, we saw that the fuel prices were still high, and on top of that, we are now seeing that the Indian government will be increasing the fuel prices more due to the current ongoing war situation between US and India. So this increase come during this rising financial pressure on the OMC companies, such as HTCL, BPCL, as well as Oil India. So these companies are currently facing losses due to the increase in oil prices. So in order to absorb this elevated crude oil prices, they did this price hike in the petrol and diesel prices. So the next update will be on the global front. If you see, US President Donald Trump is currently on visit to China to discuss the divisive issues such as the Iran war, trade, technology, and as well as the China and Taiwan. Further, Trump has mentioned that China has offered to help negotiation and end to the Iran war and reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. So that this will be a crucial thing to watch out for, as we are seeing that US and China are currently in talks. And post this meeting, if there are any positive updates, we may see de-escalation in the tensions between US and Iran, as the talks between US and China ends at a positive note. So that will be the crucial thing to watch out for in the upcoming week as well. The next update will be on the India's inflation front. If you see, India's wholesale inflation surged to 8.3% in the month of April, marking the highest reading in the current data series. So this was driven by largely by soaring fuel and crude oil prices. So the sharp increase in the producer cost was led by higher prices of mineral oils, natural gas, as well as the manufactured goods. So this why this prices were increased. So due to the elevated global commodity and energy prices are putting some strain onto the domestic supply chains. So as a result of that, we are seeing higher prices of in the producer cost. So that was some of the key updates that happened in this week as well as the previous week. So as I mentioned, we will be discussing some of the global data as well. So here are some of the returns that were generated in the global markets in the month of April. So it is a global market stage a recovery in the month of April after a meaningful decline in the month of March. So this improvement was largely supported by cooling of energy-related concerns that had previously weighed on the sentiments. So as I mentioned, that US and Iran war, which started in the month of at the start of March, is currently seeing less lower tension compared to when it was started at the beginning of the March. So as a result of that, April month saw a good amount of returns in most of the global markets. So as geopolitical developments pointed towards a temporary easing of tension, including a temporary ceasefire as well as intermittent diplomatic progress, alongside improved visibility on key shipping routes. So all this led to a good trading in the month of April. Further, US equities outperformed, driven by strong earnings on the backdrop of across technology and financial sectors, with sustained momentum in AI companies. Further, in Asian markets such as South Korea, Taiwan, and China were similarly supported by AI-linked themes. So, as you can see in this chart, cost, which is South Korean market saw 31.61% of returns. Taiwan market saw 24.68%. Then Japan, MSCI, excluding Japan, saw 16.9%. Nikkei with the Japanese market saw 16.10% of returns in the month of April. However, if you see as we move downwards, we can see that S&P 200 sort of negative, 2.17% of return, whereas FTSE 1.99% of returns in the month of April. So these are some of the global market updates in the month of April. On the in this slide, we will be discussing about Brent and USD INR. So if you see energy prices surged during this period, driven by the heightened volatility and the tension between Iran and US alongside concerns over a potential disruptions to oil, which led to such a sudden spike in oil prices to $120. And on today, that is 15th of May, also we saw oil price moving towards $109. Further, then to settle above $100 per barrel, marked by the end of the month, in the month of April, with price pressure continuing to remain elevated. On the USD INR front, the rupee depreciated in the month of April and closing at 94.92, and today on 15th May it made a record low of 96.1. So that was another hit on the Indian rupees on today, that is 15th of May. So if you compare towards the month of March, rupee depreciated by 4% on a month-on-month basis due to the combination of high policy intervention as well as the ongoing geopolitical tensions. So these are some of the key updates that happened in the previous week as well as this month, which all things have happened. Further on the outlook front, if you see during this ongoing situation, we would suggest that we should focus on disciplined investing rather than going all large at a single stock or a single purchase. Rather than we can do a SIP kind of thing to average out our purchases in this coming months. So I guess that's all for this video. Also, I hope you do like this video. Like, share, and share Gepl Capital's YouTube channel. So thank you again for watching this video. Thank you.